And a good morning to you, and welcome to the show. Grab another cup of coffee and a croissant, and we just want to let you know that the Back Nine Boys Golf Show is brought to you by Mizuno Golf, Reach Beyond, by Sea Palms Resort, become a member at seapalms.com, by Club Car, the leader in sport, utility, and personal vehicles, by RSM, proud sponsor of the RSM Classic, giving back to our community, and by Bridgestone Golf, getting fitted for the best ball of the Tour B sections just for you. On the show, we're going to talk with Suzy, Whaley, president of Golf Nation and the former first president of PGA of America. Then we'll talk with Ron Sirak, author, past president of the Golf Writers Association, who covers the LPGA, and ronsirak.com. And then finally, we'll talk with PGA Tour pro Michael Thompson. Michael's got 2 PGA Tour wins, and we talked about his take on the LIV Tour from a player's standpoint. And first up is PGA Tour's Michael Thompson. Michael and I sat down during his break from playing to talk about his season so far and his take on the LIV Tour. All right, we are with Michael Thompson, PGA Tour. Michael, thanks for being with us, of course. So how has the season gone for you so far?
It's been a bit of a roller coaster. I got off to a really good start early, cooled off, and the real big issue for me is my putting hasn't been where I normally like it to be, and I feel like I'm a good putter, and I went through about 2 months, probably starting in I want to say maybe San Diego, where I was lipping out a lot of putts. I have 4 to 6 lip outs around, and consequently I missed a lot of cuts. And on top of that, I played a lot and kind of burned myself out. So the motivation to kind of go out and practice and figure it out kind of wasn't there. And that's part of getting older and having kids. You know, you just have other things that want to grab your time and where you want to spend your time. So, but I've put in a new putter. I've got, I don't even know what it's called. It's a Ping PLD, but it looks like Justin Thomas's putter. It's got the 2 spikes coming out the back.
Okay.
A little bit better balance, a little bit heavier putter, and I've seen some good results. I finished the week first in strokes gained putting in Dallas, and had a decent week at Colonial putting, and so I'm going to start back up in at the John Deere, and you know, I'm kind of looking forward to see what I can do the second half of the year. I've got 6 events left before the FedEx Cup, and I'm going to play everything coming up and just give it one last final push and hopefully get into that FedEx Cup. The nice thing is about the FedEx Cup is the first event is in Memphis at TPC Southwind. I love that golf course. So if we can get there, who knows what can happen.
All right, when you talk about lipping out putters, lipping out 4 to 6 in a round, it means you're reading them right. It means maybe your speed, or maybe you looked at it that it was going to break more than it did, but it means at least you're reading them correctly.
Yeah, it's I actually think my reads are just barely off. My speed has been really good. I'm having tap-ins for my second putt. So speed is perfect. It's just over-reading or under-reading just a hair. And it's really hard to like fix that, fine tune that. The easiest way I've figured out how to do that, and honestly, it's not easy. It takes time, putting time in on the golf course, in your practice, but it's playing games, putting yourself in competition mode where you have to make putts, but you have to do it with good speed. And so if you practice that way over time, your reads become better. And it's, so that's all it is. It's a matter of just putting in time on the putting green, doing my games, doing my drills, and seeing balls go in the hole. The more you see the ball go in the hole, the more likely it's going to happen on the golf course.
And you've got 6 events left before, as you said, the FedEx Cup. So each of these courses, though, are going to be very different. So you're going to go out maybe a little earlier and practice more on the putting and reading the greens a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm definitely if I travel on Mondays, first thing I do on Tuesdays, go to the putting green and spend a couple hours doing my putting drills, getting used to the speed of the greens, getting used to how much the ball's breaking, if there's any grain that I have to deal with. And then go into ball striking, and then kind of do your checks and balances, check your alignment, make sure you're in the right positions, make sure you're hitting it out of the center of the club face, ball's moving kind of the way you want to do, and then go out on the course and kind of figure out how you want to play the golf course. So that's kind of the recipe to success. It takes discipline to be able to do that because, traveling, and I know by week 6, I'm going to be tired.
Yeah.
The good thing about professional golf is, if you play well, you're less tired. You're tired. You're tired in that you put a lot of effort into it, but you're getting rewarded, right? So, you're making some good paychecks, and you're making FedEx Cup points, and you're putting yourself in a position to have a great year. So, it gets really tired when you put in all that work and you don't get anything out of it. And so, hopefully we have some success.
And, you take a look at your game, your skills are there, the talent is there. As you get older and as you get more into these next 6 weeks, is the mental part of the game going to be more in effect for you than it has been?
It is, because I'm going to have to pace myself, because physically I can't do as much as I used to. And my family's going to be traveling with me. So it's not like I'm spending 12 hours on the golf course every day. I just don't enjoy doing that anymore.
Right.
I think it's just making sure that I don't get too ahead of myself, wanting the success to happen. Like I have to dive into, and get really involved in the practice and the prep, and be really efficient with my time. And then go out and just play, right? It's still a game. You hit the ball as straight as you possibly can, and you try to make as many putts as you can. At the end of the day, if you do those things well, you're going to shoot under par. So, just try to keep it real simple.
All right. We talked a little bit about this LIV tour, and you had a great comment where you compared it to somebody being offered more. Go into that a little bit for me again.
Yeah. So, two points that I have is there's been multiple players on tour that have changed their equipment or changed their agents in taking more money and changing clubs that they grew up playing with, and they haven't played to the level that they were playing before. I think when some of the bigger name players, they make a change like that, and then down the road, they start complaining, or they make a comment that it didn't work out the way they expected it to, and that players shouldn't just go chasing money. I think is a bit hypocritical, because those players didn't give back the money that they got. They still improved their lives. They might not have won as many tournaments, but they still improved their lives. And a lot of the guys that are going to live, honestly, are not Hall of Fame seeking players as of yet, and they probably never will be. This is an opportunity, I believe, that Live has provided for us to make more money and kind of create generational wealth that will I guess support our families for generations to come.
Sure.
And, I like to pose the question to somebody, and I actually had this posed to me. If say a salesperson was offered 10 times their paycheck for to go work for a different company, and working less hours, what would you do? That's essentially what's happening here. The Live Golf is offering less tournament play for almost 10 times as much money.
Sure.
And I think to a lot of people, you got to be crazy not to take that offer. It doesn't matter where the money's coming from. And then the other thing that I had to say, I forget what
You were talking about legacy and as far as playing for money.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's two groups of players on tour. There's guys who are playing for Hall of Fame status. They're trying to create a legacy, kind of like exactly like what Phil and Tiger have done, Jack and Arnie. There's players that just have goals and dreams of winning as many tournaments as they can. I would say a majority of the players on tour and in professional golf play the game, not only because they love it, but because they want to make as much money as they possibly can. At the end of the day, we want to support our families, and everybody wants to make as much money as they possibly can. It doesn't matter what business you're in.
Sure.
And so for the legacy seekers to complain about players going over and taking big paychecks, again, a bit hypocritical, because they themselves have taken big paychecks from companies, and with restrictions on what they have to do for that money.
Right.
To me, there's no difference between that and what the Live Tour is offering.
All right. One last question. You can answer or you cannot.
Okay.
If you were offered an opportunity to go to Live Golf, would you go?
I think I would for the right amount of money, and I think the key is getting multi-year exemption out there, just so you have an opportunity and it's in writing that you will play full 2 seasons at least out there, because there's obviously a lot of money to be made on the golf course, and obviously as well, if they throw in kind of an appearance fee at the beginning, that just helps to bolster their argument for why it's so intriguing.
Some great points by PGA Tour's Michael Thompson. Next up is writer Ron Sirak. We're going to talk about a variety of topics, including his thoughts on the LIV Tour. But who has the best deep dish pizza? Well, it's got to be the only choice, CJ's Italian Restaurant across from Parker's on Mallory Street on St. Simon's Island. They make their deep dish and thin crust every day with homemade salad dressings, meatballs, their famous hoagies, great apps, pasta dishes, everything. They open 7 days a week at 4:30. So eat in or take out. They do the greatest job at both. Go see their eclectic decor and their friendly customer service. Call them at 912-634-2711, 634-2711 every day. CJ's Italian Restaurant, only the best for you.
Hey, this is Kip Henley. I caddy on the PJ Tour for Stuart Seek, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. Our next guest is Ron Sirak, top-selling author, Golf Digest senior writer. Ron has covered many golf tournaments over the years. Good morning, Ron, and welcome back to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure to be with you.
It is. I know you've got a 9 o'clock tee time, so I'm not going to keep you from your warm-up and your stretches, but I do have to ask you, you and I have talked several times. You're the only writer to cover all the men's and women's majors in the same year. Was that a goal, or was that just something that came about?
Well, when it occurred to me that I had a chance to do it, I thought, well, I'm going to give it a shot. So I did it in 2005 and 2010, and then I did 8 majors that year. Then in 2013, when the LPGA had it a 5th major, I decided, well, I got to do all 9 in the same year now. So in 2013, I did 9 majors.
All right, you've covered the LPGA for years. What are your thoughts about the recent increases in the prize money?
Well, it's massive. The 5 majors this year, the total purse increase is $13.9 million. The KPMG Women's PGA doubled their purse from 4.5 to 9 million this year. The USGA raised the Women's Open to $10 million. This year, Minjee Lee won $1.8 million for winning the U.S. Women's Open at Pine Needles. When I covered that tournament at Pine Needles in 1996, the total purse was $1.2 million. So she won more. She won 50% more this year than what the total purse was in 1996. I think everything looks good. It's women's golf's trending in the right direction. A lot of corporations are realizing that they can get involved in women's golf for less of a financial outlay than in the men's game, and the athletes are really easy to work with.
Very easy to work with. How do you feel that the LPGA now, not only raising prize money, but now they're also playing on some courses that I think they've longed to play on for so many years, like Pebble Beach and Congressional?
Yeah, when the PGA of America and KPMG got together with the LPGA and created the Women's PGA Championship, a lot of the old-time LPGA players were upset that it replaced the LPGA Championship. And They hated that brand to go away, the LPGA Championship. But if you talk to any of those people who were critics 8 years ago, they all think it's a great, great move now, because not only has prize money gone up, but they've played Sahali and Olympia Fields and Kemper Lakes and Aronimink, and this year Congressional, and next year Baltusrol. And you mentioned next year the U.S. Women's Open goes to Pebble Beach. When the women play golf course that the golf fans are used to seeing the men play, a lot of people will tune in to watch, even if they're not fans of women's golf, because they want to see, gee, I wonder how they set it up for the women. Gee, I wonder how the women will play Pebble Beach. And once they're exposed to the product, some of those people become fans of the women's game and come back. So it's a tremendous, tremendous boost to the women's game.
Yeah, I've played in a couple of pro-ams with LPGA players, and I learn more from them than I do the men, because I can relate more to their swing and their swing speed, and they're just so friendly and so helpful as you play.
I'm surprised that more equipment companies don't use women to market to men, because you're absolutely right. I should be playing the specs that a lot of LPGA players play, because my swing speed is way closer to them than it is to Rory McIlroy. You know, and plus, as I said, and I know this from my years at Golf Digest and doing instructional things, the women are so easy to work with because they have fewer demands on their time. They want the attention. When Mike Wan was commissioner of the LPGA, one of his mantras to the players is act like a founder. And what he meant was those founders, those women who started the LPGA in 1950, did everything. They promoted the tour. They would go to minor league baseball games, boxing matches, anything to grow the women's game. And the players, for the most part, still think that way. They're always trying to promote their tour and grow the game.
Well, speaking of promoting, you received the PGA of America Lifetime Achievement Award a few years ago. How was that for you, and how did that make you feel?
Well, what I really liked about receiving that award, first off, it was a huge honor, but they specifically cited me for my coverage of the women's game and for my coverage of the business side of golf. And when I became the golf writer for the Associated Press in the 90s, at that point, the AP golf writer covered 43 PGA Tour events a year, but never went to any women's events. And when I took over the job, I said, I want this job, but here's how I want to do it differently. We have to cover women. We have to cover amateurs. We have to cover the business of golf. We have to cover the whole spectrum of golf. It's not just the PGA Tour. And fortunately, I had a boss who said, sounds good to me, go for it. And so the fact that when the PGA of America gave me that Lifetime Achievement Award, they specifically cited the changes I had made in how the AP covered the women's game and covered the business of golf meant a lot to me.
Yeah, and on your website, I was looking at it, ronsirak.com, you wrote about recently the PGA Tour versus Live Golf. So what are your thoughts about what's going on with the Live Tour versus the PGA Tour?
Well, if it comes down to a financial matter, the PGA Tour's already lost.
Yeah,
Can't compete with the Saudis. The revenue stream this year, the PGA Tour will take in $1.5 billion. I mean, the Live Golf is paying out more than that just in guaranteed appearance fee money. So what it's going to come down to, in my mind, and the whole morality of doing business with the Saudis, that's an individual thing.
Right.
It's going to come down to the competitive aspect. 48 players in a shotgun start. To me, by having only 48 players, you're narrowing the growth pool for the game. At 48 as opposed to 156 in a PGA Tour event, where younger players have a chance to come in and work their way up. And then the whole shotgun start, I don't get that. If everybody tees off at the same time, everybody's finishing at the same time and on different holes, how's that going to build drama? How's that going to build excitement? So it's going to come down to the competitive aspect and whether the fans are going to enjoy watching 48 players in a shotgun start.
Yeah, and it depends on where they're going to watch them. Are they going to stream, or will the Saudis buy a TV station or a network? Right
now the first event in London was on YouTube,
right,
and it got 92,000 views, which is virtually nothing.
Right.
That was the first day. The second day got 40,000. So what that shows you is a lot of people tuned in that first day out of curiosity, maybe to see Phil Mickelson for the first time in 4 months.
Yeah.
But the second day, they didn't come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they've got enough money to buy several TV stations. But I think the big thing, Ron, is are the world ranking points going to be approved by the board? And because that's important for those players that are on the Live Tour to qualify for the majors.
Yeah, it's for the most part, the official world golf rankings doesn't like 54 holes.
Right.
They want tournaments to be 72 holes, and we know this. We know that the longer you play, the more likely the cream rises to the top. You see it in match play all the time. 36-hole match play finals, there were far fewer upsets than 18 holes.
Right.
Tiger Woods would not have won 3 consecutive U.S. amateurs if they were 18 holes.
Right.
So, so the world rankings like 72-hole tournaments. They also don't like the 48-man field. The one contradiction they have in there is they give world ranking points to Tiger Woods tournament, which I think has 16 players in the field, maybe 20.
Right.
But it is 72 holes. But that's going to be the big thing. I thought it was a huge step this week when the DP World Tour in Europe announced that they were suspending for 3 events anybody who played in the Live event and fining them $125,000.
Do you think the other tours eventually, I know the USGA and the RNA have not done that. They're letting the Live players play. Do you think the other tours eventually, like let's say next year, that will also happen, that they'll drop back and support the PGA Tour and leave out the LIV players?
It's going to be interesting to see what happens next year, because both the USGA and the RNA said, and I think rightly so, said, look, we established the criteria for this year's championship, the U.S. Open and the British Open. We established that criteria before Live existed. we have to stick to what what we said. That's not to say they may not change it next year.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what the USGA and the RNA do for 2023. I think it's going to be really fascinating to see what Augusta National does, because as a private club running a major championship,
Yeah.
they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They can set up whatever criteria they want. And in a lot of ways, they're going to be leading. And also, that's going to be the first major of next year. So
Right.
they're going to be leading the pack.
Yeah. And I've also read that the public investment fund of the Saudis has, we know, an unlimited amount of funds, $650 billion. But they've also invested in several U.S. companies, some of which, including FedEx, have sponsorships with the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, there's a lot of contradictions there. And as I said, the moral issue becomes an individual choice.
Right.
And I also think governments have to do things that individuals don't have to do. I mean, our governments had to cut deals with a lot of countries that politically we don't agree with over the years, just for those reasons. So, I went to the Middle East. I went to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Bahrain in 2011. Do a story on why do they have golf over there. And what I found out is they're preparing for a post-oil economy. They want a more diversified economy, not tied just to oil.
Right.
So that's going to be based on banking, real estate, and tourism.
Yep.
Not only is there golf over there, there's Formula One auto racing, World Cup soccer is going to be there. There's tennis. They use all those events to try to bring tourists into the area to create another revenue stream.
Well, it's going to be an interesting battle for sure. It's not over, and there's probably more to be coming out from both the LIV and the PGA Tour. Ron, I know you need to get to your tee time. Thank you for being with us, and good luck today on the golf course.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be on with you.
All right,
Talk to you
thanks,
down the
Ron.
road, my friend.
All right. Ron Sirak, top-selling author, Golf Digest senior writer. Just love his take on things. Next up, former president of the PGA, now president of Golf Nation, Suzy Whaley. But first, I want to ask you, are you looking for new clubs? Why don't you try the new Mizuno 922, 923, and the 925s to improve your game, and you can reach beyond for game improvement. Also, take a look at the new Mizuno drivers, the fairway metals, and the hybrids. And, I mean, it's really going to make a difference in your game. Try the new models of Mizuno putters. They've got mallets, they've got blades, and check out everything at MizunoGolf.com. Mizuno Golf, reach beyond.
Hi, this is Zach Johnson from the PGA Tour, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles, former pro golfer, past president of the PGA of America, and now president of Golf Nation. Suzy Whaley is our next guest. Good morning, Suzy. How are you?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. You and I have something in common. You went to Carolina. I was living in North Carolina at the time.
I think that makes you an honorary Tar Heel for sure.
Give us your thoughts on becoming the first woman involved with the PGA of America and then becoming the first woman president.
I think everybody doesn't start out thinking that's what they're going to do. They just want to be a part of the game in a way that's compelling and has an advocacy role. And for me, I couldn't be more proud of my time and my service and the people I've met along the way and worked with. I mean, we've all worked really hard to advance the game, and for that, I'm grateful.
Well, and now you've moved on to become president of Golf Nation. Tell us a little bit about Golf Nation.
Yeah, a really exciting next chapter for me. I joined the Golf Nation team. It's a company, a digital channel, OTT and CTV channel under the HoCo of NBTV. We're going to bring golf lifestyle to every home is our goal across every nation. And we are building programming. We just finished filming in South Africa, which we're really excited about. We're a e-commerce platform where you can buy, watch, play, everything to do with the game. And I hope everybody will log on at golfnation.com, check us out, sign up. It's free. And we're going to bring you great digital content all about the game.
And so what are the goals? I mean, besides getting more viewers, what are your goals for Golf Nation?
I want to make golf accessible for everybody. I always have. It's why I'm a proud member of the PGA of America and the LPGA. I want to bring golf into people's homes in a way that's compelling to them. Championship golf is covered. We have digital streaming covered. I love watching championship golf. But there's so much more to the game, as you and I know. There's the food, there's the beverage, there's the camaraderie, the health, the well-being. Everything that I love about the game is what we want to bring to consumers. And we're going to do it in a consumer-centric way where you can buy right with your remote. If you like what we're watching, we can raise money for charities right there as you watch content. The content will never stop. And no need to hit the X to stop an advertisement because our brands and our partners are doing it in an organic way, an authentic way where they're showcasing what they believe in the game as well.
And when will Golf Nation be available for the public?
We're doing a soft beta launch this fall at golfnation.com. We'll then be an app by the end of the year. And then by Q1, we'll be on Apple TV, Hulu, Roku. You can find us just about any place you want in the beginning of 2023. But sign up now, and we're going to give you some teasers for some content that we're building currently.
Awesome. All right, you qualified for a PGA Tour event. What was that like for you? And in the beginning, was that a goal for you to qualify for a men's tournament?
No, never a goal. I was a member of the Connecticut section PGA at the time, and we had our year-end final championship, our big event of the year. I entered that to honestly win a trophy if possible and a nice check. I never imagined that if I won, I would be allowed to play in the Greater Hartford Open, now currently the Travelers Championship, which is going on as we speak.
Yep.
And when I won that championship, the tour asked me if I was going to play. I ended up taking 3 months to decide, chose to play in the event, played against PGA Tour players at UPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut. And I can tell you it was daunting, overwhelming, and amazing all at the same time. I'm so glad that I did it.
So tell us your thoughts on the Whaley rule.
Yes, the Whaley rule. The Whaley rule is, it's always nice to have a rule named after you.
That's kind of cool, really.
Yeah, whether it's good or bad. But,
yeah.
When I participated in the Connecticut Section PGA Championship, I played from approximately 6,400 yards. The men were 10% longer than I was. But when I played in the PGA Tour event, I played from the same tee as the PGA Tour players, which was, I think at the time, just under 7,000 yards. And the Whaley rule just stated that from there on forward, anyone that would have the opportunity to qualify for a PGA Tour event would have to do it from the tees that the men started on. So for us, the PGA of America, now if one of our female members chose to play in their section event from the back tee that had an exemption for a PGA Tour event and qualified for it, she would then be eligible to play.
Awesome. So LPGA has come a long way since you were involved in that. I mean, you're still involved in it, but not playing as much as you used to. But what are your thoughts on the prize money increases right now from the LPGA?
Well, I'm certainly proud to be the honorary president of the PGA of America, and really proud about the announcement this week for the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. That championship started when I first became an officer in 2015 with some real lofty goals. We wanted to create a platform for the best female golfers in the world to play in a major on the best venues possible, typically male-dominated venues in championship history. That we've done. We wanted them to be a part of network television coverage so people could actually watch them at a hour where people were watching TV, not an hour
Right.
so they were
Right.
asleep. We wanted to elevate women and inspire young girls to play the game. And with KPMG's partnership in the LPGA, we've done just that through their Leadership Summit and their Future Leaders Program. But this week on Tuesday, as this championship is being held at Congressional Country Club this week, KPMG, the LPGA, and the PGA of America were proud to announce that they doubled the purse to $9 million from $4.5 million. First place money will be $1,325,000. And I think what really struck me is I had an opportunity to be at the past champions dinner this week in Washington, D.C., with former champions like Sandra Haney and Jan Stevenson and Donna Capone and Beth Daniel and Meg Mallon, telling stories about how first place prize money in the early days was $3,000.
Yeah.
And so while we're not where we need to be and we're not at equity, but we're working toward equity, toward the PGA Championship purse, we're really proud of the strides that have been made in the elevation of the women's game.
You played at Carolina, and you were described, and I read this on site, as a 36-year-old club pro who played briefly on the LPGA Tour. Does that upset you to be referred to that way?
No. I'm too old now to worry about stuff like that. I think at the end of the day, I think it's an awareness. I think that those of us that have been in the game, we respect those that came before us that allowed us to have golf as a career.
Yeah.
And I'm always humbled by those that came before me that allowed that to happen. But I also see myself as somebody who's promoting and advocating for the women behind me. And if you have a career in the game, I want it to be a valued one. I want you to feel great about the career in the game, whether it's in the industry, working within the game, or whether it's playing competitively, or whether it's doing both. And I'm proud to say that I've done both my whole career. I still play competitive golf. For people to describe me as a 36-year-old mom, I couldn't be any more proud of that.
You
as
bet.
a head golf professional over my course of my career, which I've done, I don't have a linear career in the game. I'm a TV analyst now. I'm president of a company called Golf Nation. I'm still the honorary president of the PGA of America. I'm still an LPGA member. And I can't wait to see what the next 10 years brings. So let's hope they say when I'm, 70 years old, that I'm still working within the industry, and I'll be proud of that.
I'm sure you will be. And when you played on the tour, didn't your mom caddy for you some?
My mom caddied for me all throughout my career from when I was very young. So unfortunately, I lost her about 16 years ago, but she was the inspiration for me to play the game. My mom is who started me in golf. She was my pal on the golf course growing up. She was my first teacher in the game, and I cherish my relationship with my mom, and I credit her for giving me an incredible passion and joy to play the game.
Moms have a way of doing that, don't they?
They really do. And for me, it's just been a treat. I get to play with my daughters. I get to play with my niece. My husband's involved in the game. And I still love it. I still love to play golf. Even when I'm really bad at it, I still love it.
Yeah, I saw a hat the other day.
That's for sure.
I saw a hat the other day, and I actually bought it. It said, "I hate golf. I hate golf. I hate golf. Nice shot. I love golf."
Oh, exactly right. And that's what makes it all great. You can shoot your best round and you still talk about that putt you missed for one less, right?
Exactly. I had an opportunity many years ago to sit down for an hour with Peggy Kirk Bell over at Pine Needles. And it was one of the most incredible hours that I've ever spent. She came zooming, and I mean zooming up on a golf cart. And
yeah, she always does.
Yes, and she was fast on everything. And I asked her, what do you miss most? And she goes, I just want to smack it.
Yeah.
She was just an amazing
Such
lady.
an unbelievable inspiration to so many of us, especially when I went to Chapel Hill. We had privileges at Pine Needles and down in Pinehurst. And she would come out on the range and hold court and give us a clinic and
Yeah.
exactly that. Can't we swing any faster? Can't you hit
Yep.
it any farther than that?
And I loved it sometimes.
It just was a joy to be around her. Her family all played the game. She cherished it. She cherished what she did for women's golf. She had the first real women's golf school in the country.
Right.
At Pine Needles that still exists today, where women come down and spend a glorious couple days in the game together in an incredible environment. So, as I said earlier, I'm so thankful for the Peggy Kirk Bells of the world who gave us all the opportunity to work in the game.
Well, Suzy, we got to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I've got some more questions for you, so hang with us. And again, thank you for your time. We'll be right back.
Absolutely.
With Suzy Whaley on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
This is Todd Thompson, the tournament director for the RSM Classic, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. We're on the phone with the president of Golf Nation, soon to be golfnation.com, Suzy Whaley. Suzy, as a teaching pro, what are some of the common mistakes that you see us amateurs making way too often?
Is that a trick question?
Probably, because I'm trying to get some hints.
I only giggle because I think, professionals make those mistakes too. But, for me, what I see most often is people confusing hitting it hard with speed. And as people try to swing with just their arms and their torso to try to hit the ball farther with brute strength, it oftentimes wreaks havoc on their golf game.
Yeah.
So I always go back to people's basics. I always go back to their athleticism, their biomechanics, and try to create a golf swing that repeats for them in a way that can have the fastest rate of speed, but also hit the center of the club face. And when that happens, people tend to play much better golf. I think the other component that if we could do it for everybody, we would have them practice on the putting green and the short game area before they came to the golf range. Because most often people don't have a lot of time and they'll hit golf balls until they are happy or until their tee time. And then they never have an opportunity to really work on their short game or their putting, which we all know is, almost half of the strokes in golf. So I would have people start at the short game area first if you only have 15 minutes, at least put in 5-7 minutes there, hit a few golf balls, and then head on your way.
Yep. It's amazing how many times they go from the car to the tee and then wonder why they don't play well.
Well, I understand that. I mean, people are really busy, but then you don't have the right to be aggravated if you play the first three.
Yeah, exactly. All right, the PGA Tour is in a battle, as you know, with the Live Golf Tour. Do you see in any way in your involvement with PGA of America that same issue in the near future for a competitor like that for the LPGA Tour?
Well, I mean, I think the LPGA Tour, I was reading some statements by Molly, their commissioner, this week, and she is very strong on stating that she is trying to build the best tour in the world for the best golfers in the world. I certainly think that, right now, Aramco has events that they sponsor on the LPGA Ladies European Tour. So they are in golf. They are in women's golf and supporting women's golf on the Ladies European Tour.
And do you think that will move into something like what's happening with the Live Tour now with the PGA?
I believe they'll have more events. I can't speak for Molly or what the LPGA's plans are in relationship with that group. All I can say is they are offering opportunities for women in the game in Europe that are strong opportunities for them.
Yeah.
And if golf can create more opportunities for women, then I'm an advocate for that.
But do you think golf is in a good place?
I think golf is in an unbelievable place.
Yeah.
I think we have more people playing the game than we have in years. I think the growth amongst women golfers is tremendous, and golfers that are non-white is tremendous. We're on an uptick in both of those areas. I think golf needs to look more like the communities that we serve, and we're getting there. We aren't anywhere near where we could be, but that creates an amazing opportunity for the game to grow. And I think the bodies, the associations are working very hard on ensuring that people feel welcome to the game, that we offer more access to those that can't afford the game, that we're getting more juniors out playing the game, and that we really have an opportunity to create well-being mentally and physically through the game of golf. And that is something that I will continue to work towards.
Yeah, I see a lot of growth, at least from what I see where I am, as far as women and juniors. And I mean, these juniors are just incredible golfers, both boys and girls, men and women.
I think the fun part about the game that we try to message is that if you have a junior that loves other sports, 2 or 3 other sports, or a junior that perhaps hasn't found a sport that they like, golf is a lifetime game, which anybody that plays it understands. And that's cliche, and we say it a lot, but it's just the case. And so I would always encourage families and parents and friends and neighbors to introduce the game to youth.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to be Scotty Scheffler or Jennifer Kupcho, right?
Right.
To love the game. They can play the game for the rest of their lives. They can play it through business. It opens doors and opportunities to create networks that perhaps weren't able to be created without the game. There's invitations that occur where business occurs if you have the opportunity to learn the game of golf, which does not necessarily mean you have to be good at it to participate. And so I'm always stating to people, look, when people ask you if you're a golfer and you've played the game, you are a golfer. Nobody asks you if you're good at it.
Right. Yeah. Well, sometimes they do. Yeah. Sometimes they do. We've got about 30 seconds. I got one last question. If you could change one thing in golf, what would it be?
I would have more access for youth that can't afford to play it.
Awesome. Suzy, thank you so much for your time. It's great talking to you. I hope we can talk again, and just have a great day.
I enjoyed it. You too. Have a great day and go play some golf.
You betcha. Suzy Whaley, now president of GolfNation.com and former past president of PGA of America. This morning, I want to leave you with a thought. Our last interview was with an instructor who will leave us with his swing thoughts, and I just hope it helps you.
I've been asked many times, JC, what are your swing thoughts as you're swinging? What are the secrets? What are the secrets of golf that pros know? Well, I heard this one time, and I remembered it. It's really, if you'd write this down, it really helped. What I try to do, I try to flat load my feet so I can snap load my power package. That way I can amplify both lag and drag pressure through impact fix. As long as my number 2 power accumulator doesn't break down, I can reach maximum centripetal force with minimum pivotal resistance. You see, the pivot is the utilization of multiple centers to produce a circular motion for generating centrifugal force on an adjusted plane, plus the maintenance and balance necessary to promote the 2-line delivery path. See, golf is geometrically oriented linear force. It involves a physical muscular thrust and the geometry of the circle. You can divide the golf swing into 24 basic components, each having between 12 and 15 variations. Now, when you think of all this and you get it all set, hopefully you'll hit shots like this.
Okay, that's it. I mean, I hope that left you with at least 32 swing thoughts, something that we all need to look forward to improving our game. Just want to thank you for being with us on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show right here on ESPNCoastal.com. Check out all of our shows right there. Just put on /Back9Boys. We'll see you next week.